Hello everyone, welcome to the channel marking mode for another amazing tutorial. Today we are looking at how to draft a basic bodice block or sloper. Do well to like, comment, share and ultimately subscribe for more amazing tutorials. Let's get right into it. I'm starting off by drawing my starting lines at the length and breadth of my pattern paper. Now note that every measurement I'll be using is in inches, but because of the small size of my pattern paper, I'll be using centimeters for the representation here. But mind you, every measurement being used right here is in inches. So when you're working on your garment, use inches. That is in reference to this tutorial. Use inches. I'll start off by marking my neck width, and the neck width I'm working here with is 3 inches. 3 inches. So that is what you see me do there. Neck width is 3 inches and also neck depth is 3 inches. That is basically 3 by 3. And I'm going to join these 2 points together with a smooth curve. Now if you have your curve ruler, you can use your curve ruler to do this. I'm going to do this with a very smooth curve. There we have our neckline. From there we are going to mark our shoulder width, and our shoulder width that you measure divided by 2 plus 0.5 is the method we are using. In this case you are using 14 inches divided by 2 plus 0.5, that's 7.5. So mark 7.5, and our shoulder slope is going to be 1 inch. So mark 1 inch below and connect to your neckline. Now reaffirm your 7.5 measurement on your new shoulder line. Just as you see me do here. From here we are going to get our shoulder to bust point and shoulder to waist measurement. Shoulder to bust point and shoulder to waist measurement. And here my shoulder to bust point measurement is 9 inches, and shoulder to waist measurement for the front bodies is 15 inches. So I'm going to mark those 2 lines and rule horizontal lines through each of the 2 points. Up next is for us to get our armhole depth, and our armhole depth is our shoulder width divided by 2. Here in this case we are not adding any allowance to it, so just mark your 7 inches for your armhole depth and connect it to form this right angle shape as you see me do here. Now on that 7-inch armhole depth, we are going to divide that 7-inch by 2. That 7-inch by 2, that is going to give us 3.5 inches. So we are going to mark that 3.5 inch there, and we are going to go inward by 0.75. We're going to go in by 0.75 from that 3.5 inch mark. Now the next thing is to get our bust measurement divided by 4. So 36 divided by 4 here is 9 inches. I'm going to mark that 9 inches on my bust line, and mark on my chest line as well. The chest line is where we got the armhole depth. Then from here I'm going to draw a beautiful armhole curve. If you have a curved ruler, feel free to use that. Make sure to pass it through that middle point where we marked the 0.75 and connect it to the bust mark. From here we are going to get our bust pan divided by 2. The bust pan is also known as nipple to nipple, so that measurement divided by 2, here I have 7 divided by 2 give me 3.5. That's going to be the interval between my darts. So I'm going to mark it on the bust line, also on the waistline, and connect it like so. And then my dart intake is going to be 1.5 inches, so 0.75 inches on both sides. And that is how we get our dart. So 1.5, 0.75 on both sides, and connect it to the bust point like you see me do. Now we have our dart right in place. From here we are going to mark our waist measurement, our waist divided by 4. So 28 by 4 is 7. And that is our waist mark. Now we'll be adding our dart intake to the waist measurement, and that is 1.5 inches for the dart intake. And we are going to connect that to our bust mark like so. And yes, this is how our front bodice looks like. Shoulder to waist is 15 inches. We'll be taking our side dart, and our side dart is basically the difference between shoulder to waist on the front and on the back. So on the front I have 15 and the back I have 14, so the difference is 1 inch. And I'm going to move away from the bust point with an interval of 1 inch before taking the side dart. So that's what you see me do here, 1 inch away from the bust point and then 1 inch as the dart intake. And that is going to help the front side seam align very well with the back side seam. Don't forget to mark your grain line. Now you see me fold the dart like so, just so the two dart lines align with each other very well. Here you can see the lines already blend, so but if it was in some cases you would notice a difference, so you would get to see something like an angle forming at that point. That's what I'm trying to represent there. Yes, but this already aligned so well, so we just work with it this way. And basically this is how your front bodies should look like. A well-made front bodies should look like this. Now we're going to proceed to work on the back bodies. I drew my starting line like I did for the front, and then went ahead to transfer my measurements to the back bodies. For the back bodies, I'm going to be marking my zip line in fold. For my zip line in fold, that is going to be 1.5 inch away from the start point. Just mark your 1.5 inch and connect it like you see me do, and that is a representation of the zip line. Now we go ahead to mark the neckline for the back, and that is going to be 3 inches neck width and 1.5 inches neck depth. And we are going to connect that with a beautiful curve. Again, if you have your curve ruler, your French curve, you can use that here. I'm going with my free hand. Now from that neck point, I'm going to mark my shoulder to bust point and shoulder to waist for the back. Now shoulder to the bust point for the back is going to be higher than for the front, so that will be 8 inches. The front was 9 inches, remember? And the shoulder to waist on the front was 15, but for the back is 14 inches. I'm going to be drawing horizontal lines through these points. So from here, you've already started noticing the differences between the front body and the back bodies. We are going to be marking our shoulder width on the back, and remember on the front it was 7.5 inches. We're going to be marking the same thing on the back as well, 7.5 inches. And we're going to be coming down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And we are going to be connecting it to the neck, just like so. And again, measure your 7.5 inches just to reaffirm your measurements. Now we are going to be coming down by a shoulder width divided by 2. We had 7 for the front. We are going to be using the same thing for the back. Now here, this has already fallen on the bust point and it's completely fine. So we're just going to be working with it like so. For the front, we went into the armhole by 0.75, but this is not needed for the back. So we are just going to be transferring our body measurements to the back body. So we are marking our bust, which is 9 inches. And then we are going to be connecting the armhole to that 9 inches. So you can see the armhole shaping for the back is something very slight. It's not as deep and curved as the front bodies. We are going to be transferring our bust pan measurement to the back, which was 3.5 we marked on the front. We are going to be marking the same thing on the back as well, on the bust point and on the waistline also, and we connect it like you see me do here. Now on the front, we took bust intake of 1.5, but on the back we are going to be taking either a 1/2 inch or 5/8 on both sides. So the back dart intake should be giving us around 1 inch or 1 1/4 of an inch. and connect it to the bust point like so. And then we are going to be transferring our waist measurement on the back bodice, which is 7, and add the dart intake also to it. After that, connect the bust mark and the waist mark. Now we want to eliminate our zip bulge, prevent our zip from bulging at the back. So we are going from the zip line, we'll be going in on the waist by 0.5 inches. Like you see me do, and then connect that 0.5 inches to your bust point. This is going to give your back a slanted shape and will prevent your zip from giving that funny bulgy look. And now we're going to be transferring that ½ inch you just took out to the waistline, so it is accounted for. And then connect that to the bust mark. So we're going to be doing away with the first line we drew as the seam line. Now here I made a mistake in the bust intake. It was supposed to be 1 inch, but I took out 0.5. So I'm going to be correcting that by taking out the 1 inch for the side dart, just like you see me do. And by the time you are done taking your side dart, the length of the side of the back and the side length for the front also should be the same. Basically, your front and back bodies should look something like what you see here. Now on the zip line, remember I took out 0.5 and the zip enfold was 1.5, so I'd have to reconnect that on the starting line just so everything is well blended. Make sure the zip enfold is the same all through the garment. And also do not forget to mark your grain line again. So this is basically how your front and back bodies should look like. Remember, this is very essential for your work because every other pattern is being generated from this sloper. Thank you for watching. Do well to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next tutorial.